Hello, Business Pants, 2020, Thursday. Business Pants. Oh, I just got a tweet that Free Float Media is broadcasting live. That's us. We're live, Matt.
I'm in various states of dress. Hold on a second.
Good. For all you podcast listeners, you're missing out on a video extravaganza. We broadcast live every day at noon.
We do. You're not even like your camera's like slightly angled. Like it's.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah. Like I can't quite see your face.
That's because I have children. I have cats. You know, I have a real life without any income.
That's right. Blame your children is actually my go-to for most of my life at this point. Blame my children. Hold on, I'm tying my tie. I'm tying my tie.
All right.
I get dressed. You know what? I
Yeah.
would like to say this for the record.
Mhm.
I spent what 15 years in finance. 10 at
Yeah.
MSCI and 5 before that. Working as doing analytics on portfolios for high net worth people. I spent like a long time doing research in finance stuff. I didn't wear a tie every day until I started this job, where
That's very odd.
we live stream ourselves, and I need to, for credibility's sake, I feel like I need to actually wear a tie. Is that ridiculous?
Oh, I don't know. What about the fact that I'm not wearing a tie?
I mean, you've never been credible, so what is that?
No. And I'm from Portland, so I'd get beat up if I had a tie on.
Today is our Biz Nug Day. What's
Big bag of Biz Nuggets. Anytime you're ready, I'm ready. It's Thursday, February 20th.
Yeah, let's bring in some Biz Nug music.
All right. And I want to hear that music. It keeps me going.
Here it comes.
All right. Let's just do it. Big data. I want to set the record straight right from the top of the show, shall we? Setting the record straight. According to a new study, Facebook is designed to make you anxious, depressed, and dissatisfied. 3 states of mind that make you more vulnerable to advertising and other forms of behavioral manipulation. I like that one.
Wait.
And the study also says that people who quit using Facebook report higher levels of life satisfaction and lower levels of depression and anxiety. I just wanted to say it. Go ahead, Matt. What?
Designed?
Okay, that's what you're arguing with.
I mean, I wouldn't argue that it does those things, but it does make it sound like Zuckerberg had a plan. I mean, first of all, it's Zuckbook. It's not Facebook. It's a fake public company, so get it right. And second of all, do we think he actually designed it to do that? I think he just designed it to be an injection system for capital into his pocket.
Well, look, if my dirty local supermarket can design where to put the Skittles so that I'll buy them, then yeah, why not? Why can't Zuck design something?
It's a valid point. I take it back.
Let's stay on Zuck. Zuck thinks that online content should be regulated with a system somewhere between the existing rules used for the telecoms and the media industries. This is what he said. Right now, there are 2 frameworks that I think people have for existing industries. There's like newspapers and existing media, and then there's the telco type model, which is the data just flows through you, but you're not going to hold a telco responsible if someone says something harmful on a phone line. That's pretty clever, Zuck. I love the implication that we're not going to hold Facebook responsible. That's nice.
Did anybody ever get all of their news from a phone line?
I could see my grandmother doing that while she sucked down another pack of cigarettes.
Can you
Yeah.
before we move on to our next nugget,
Yeah.
turn your camera so I can see your face?
Oh,
because you look
I don't even
ridiculous.
I don't even know. Like
There
that.
you go. Now we can see how unshaven and ridiculous you look.
Well, it's not. If you have a beard, you're not unshaven. You have a beard. It's different. I have a full beard that my hipster barber loves. All right. However, I will say, speaking of Zuck and being held responsible, and there's a bit of an oopsie going on for Zuck. The U.S. Justice Department hosted a workshop this week to examine the scope of Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act. The law protects online platforms from liability for their users' posts and also allows them to moderate users' content without being treated as publishers. So clearly Zuck should start getting nervous, wouldn't you say, Matt?
It's still they're still having secret dinners with the Trump administration, right?
That's true. Yeah.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure he's
You don't
quaking.
know?
I'm not sure he's
Well, look,
quaking.
I have a little bit of news a little bit of evidence that Zuck might be getting nervous. In a new book from Stephen Levy, the editor at large from Wired magazine, the book claims that Zuck has staff.
Did you just call him Suck accidentally?
I did. Zuck has staff blow dry his armpits before public appearances. Yes, you heard that right. A member of Zuck's communication team dries his anxiety sweat.
I mean, like, so he's not a public speaker. I don't think.
Yeah. I'm not going to make a joke here, actually, Zuck, because I actually completely understand why you're so nervous.
Yeah, I'm with him. It's fine.
You're a college dropout surrounded by yes men, and the world hates you and is threatening to either take away your power or punish you or both. So, yeah, I get it.
Before we move on, I do want because we're in Zuckland. There is a quote that I pulled from him. I was reading Harvard Crimson articles about Zuckerberg from 2003 and 4, and they are fascinating. There's a quote about him that I feel like is the ultimate summation of every problem we have today. He puts out Face Mash. If you don't know the history, go look it up. It's fascinating.
Okay. Or watch the Aaron Sorkin movie, a great movie.
But Face Mash, basically, he steals all these pictures from all over Harvard campus of girls and rates how hot they are. In response, after he gets caught and people are yelling at him, people are unhappy, he says, this is a quote in the Harvard Crimson, quote, "I don't see how it can go back online. Issues about violating people's privacy don't seem to be surmountable." And then he goes on to say the primary concern is hurting people's feelings. I'm not willing to risk insulting anyone. I just like the framing that at some point he was like, is this surmountable? How much privacy can I violate before it's unsurmountable? We have an answer. All privacy.
All right, let's get away from Zuck. Let's talk about one of our other favorite big data vampire companies. That would be Amazon. And speaking of new media, there's a new documentary on PBS about Amazon airing this week. In that documentary, Amazon's first employee, Shel Kafan, says that Amazon scares him, and that also he's in favor of breaking up the company. Again, can there be any confusion why Uncle Jeff continues to plot his escape to Mars? And should somebody be checking Uncle Jeff for sweat stains?
He did just spend $10 billion.
Oh, that's our next story. Let's jump over to our ESG news category here. Our, what do you call it? Acronym soup?
Acronym games. ESGSRIGRICO2. Pick your.
All right, so speaking of Uncle Jeff, Bezos has pledged $10 billion to combat climate change. A few business pants tidbits on this plan. First of all, it will be called the Bezos Earth Fund because, of course, right? I mean, of course he's going to name it after himself. Number two.
Is there an apostrophe there? Is it a Bezos's Earth?
No, it's just Bezos. Oh, that's it. Okay, but the next one, Bezos says, and I quote, "We can save Earth." Because, listen to Lex Luthor, everybody.
Honestly, I'm glad that he did it. My bigger problem with it is it takes the largesse of a billionaire to save the Earth. And not to mention the fact that it comes like a day before, or it was like basically the same day, a day before, day after. Delta announces in 10 years they're going to spend $1 billion to make themselves carbon neutral. And Bezos is just like, I'm going to spend $10 billion like now.
I did a little bit of math about Uncle Jeff's fortune. If you take the remaining $122 billion he'd have left and you just put it in a simple dumb savings account like that you would find over by your local Burger King, with their moldy cheeseburgers, he would make another $22 billion over the next 10 years.
Jeff, I don't want to wealth shame anybody, but
you don't have to. I can.
But Jeff Bezos spent $165 million on a house in Los Angeles, And that's how much Delta plans on spending next year for all carbon it produces. The numbers actually, the problem we have is we're at the largesse of a billionaire deciding that they're going to combat climate. When Leon Cooperman's got billions of dollars and he's afraid of Bernie Sanders. What are you afraid of? What is everyone afraid of?
Let me just add a little bit of color here. Here's
color.
another way that Uncle Jeff made some of his money. Amazon emitted about 44.4 million metric tons of carbon dioxide in 2018, making it one of the world's largest emitters. So yeah, hey, what are you gonna do? We should also add that Russia's largest oil producer, Rosneft, is also planning to invest about $5 billion in environmentally friendly projects. So even the Russian oil company oligarchy overlordy types are doing it. So Uncle Jeff, really? Are you that? Doesn't that kind of take away your luster, your Lex Luthor luster? Let's jump over to CEO's rule. We got some good nutty executive behavior this week.
Hit me with it.
I'm gonna ask you, Matt. What exactly does it take for an entrenched family member to actually quit a company in South Korea?
To quit the family or the company?
The company.
Because all it takes is Thanksgiving here.
I'm going to tell you, it takes a hell of a lot. Samsung Electronics chairman Lee Sang-hoon, who was convicted and jailed for sabotaging union activities, has agreed to resign from the South Korean company. So, jail. Oh, but wait a minute. This is the same company where the vice chairman of Samsung, Jay Lee, who is one of the heirs to the fortune, kept his job. He never let go of his job despite serving time in jail for bribing the ex-president of Korea. So, yeah, corporate governance in Korea sounds confusing. Is that what you would say?
The implication that I'm reading from your voice
yeah.
is that being jailed for being corrupt is somehow not acceptable corporate business practice.
I don't know. In Korea, I'm not too sure. Finally, my last nutty CEO behavior moment, and another win for men who wear business pants.
Us?
Former Credit Suisse CEO Tidjane Thiam, ousted over a spying scandal, stands to collect as much as $30 million just for leaving the company.
Can I say, actually, about that story? Matt Levine, a favorite of this show podcast from Bloomberg, had been covering it. That whole thing started over an argument over a garden.
Really?
Somebody went to his house and insulted his garden, and they were like a board member, and it launched into this really big, like, angry he said she said culture war between the board and like how business is done in Switzerland and the CEO, and then he started spying, and it's brilliant. It is like the most human drama that you could possibly expect.
And now he's unemployed with a briefcase full of $30 million.
Well,
I gotta tell you,
look,
I've been to Switzerland. It's damn beautiful. I could see why someone would take offense to something about your garden.
They argued about a garden, and he walks away with $30 million. The ex-Boeing CEO, Dennis Muhlenberg, was involved in the crashing of 2 planes by proxy, and walked away with, what, 42 million? So, garden, you got to up your game. Maybe you should have crashed Credit Suisse into somebody's house.
Oh, let's move on to wars. I got a nice war for you.
I like war for all.
This is some fun media in the business news this week. 2 great stories. First, a quick fun war between 2 powerful men. Bill Gates recently revealed he bought an all-electric Porsche Taycan rather than a Tesla. Tesla CEO Elon Musk responded by saying his conversations with Gates have been underwhelming. Okay? The very next day, it was reported that an electric Porsche Taycan, I'm not making this up, caught fire in a Florida garage the very next day. I mean, you can't
It
make this
wasn't
shit
Bill
up.
Gates' electric
Well,
Porsche.
security cameras at the scene captured footage of a South African man sneaking away while smoking a joint and mumbling about short sellers. Police have been unable to identify the suspect. So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe.
I didn't even know Porsche made an electric car. Congratulations for Porsche.
Or that they set themselves on fire. Like it's like 2 in 1 there.
All of these cars set themselves on fire. It's a feature, not a bug.
All right, let's go to stakeholders rule. We have a lot of wins this week for stakeholders. All right, let's see what's going on. What are the obvious wins? Oh, first of all, I think Senator Elizabeth Warren is officially the queen of stakeholders. In last night's Democratic debate, Warren called Mike Bloomberg a billionaire who calls women fat broads and horse-faced lesbians. Also discussed were alleged instances of sexual harassment against employees of his flagship business, Bloomberg LP. So yeah, I mean, as we predicted here on this show, the hashtag #MeToo and the hashtag OKBillionaire movement has officially entered the boardroom. So I'm guessing that the Business Roundtable is pleased with itself. What do you think?
I do. Yeah, there was a conversation about NDAs, and she didn't bring up, but there's this side conversation about arbitration, forced arbitration. So like Airbnb employees, for instance, have been forcing arbitration to act because Airbnb forced them into you can't sue us, you have to go through arbitration. And arbitration historically favors the company for anything, right? Like if it's a gender issue, if it's a discrimination issue, if it's just an employment issue, and it generally favors the company. And you can't actually do a class action lawsuit against the company. So hypothetically, it's supposed to insulate the company from action. However, it is the modern age, and employees just talk to each other on social media or wherever. Right. And they've all been filing at Airbnb. They filed 6,000 separate arbitration demands, and the cost of arbitration was going to be so high that Airbnb actually settled as if it was a class action. I'm wondering when Elizabeth Warren gets on stage next and hammers at Mike Bloomberg, if she goes after kind of like NDAs and forced arbitration, and whether or not she can actually start an uprising in the company.
Yeah, I mean, I think more than ever, these issues have gone absolutely mainstream. And you need more proof that corporations should be taking this stakeholder shit seriously. The Boy Scouts of America, hobbled by multiple sex abuse lawsuits, files for bankruptcy protection. So you got to keep your shit in order, people. Lastly, another big win for stakeholders, and possibly foreshadowing for the coming decade, and something we've been talking a lot about here at Business Pants. Kickstarter workers are now the first white-collar workers at a major tech company to successfully unionize in the United States. So let's see if this becomes something, if the ball gets rolling on this one.
It's unbelievable that a mechanism that's 100 years old is being leveraged today as the only mechanism to protect employees. It's like unionization is like 100. Yeah, it's like Industrial Revolution age mechanism. So congratulations for leveraging the past.
I don't know if that's sarcasm or not.
I don't even know anymore.
All right, let's go to our last category, our say what category. There's even a pop quiz at the end for you, Matt.
I love quizzes.
First of all, Oracle employees are protesting founder Larry Ellison's plan to host a fundraising dinner for President Trump next week. But here's the say what moment. The Department of Justice, famously in the pocket of President Trump, has thrown its weight behind Oracle in a pivotal Supreme Court case against Google that was once referred to as the copyright case of the decade. Say what? That's how easy it is, I guess, with Trump.
Yeah.
We knew that, right?
Yeah, I guess.
So should the employees be protesting? I mean, it sounds like it's going to help them keep their dirty jobs.
I mean, I just sit on I sit in a fence with. I don't have a strong, like it's not
All right.
surprising to me that employees would do this, but it also is kind of like it's I what do they expect?
I mean, I guess they expect their boss not to be friends with Trump, so they don't have to be
But
embarrassed
that's
when they
like,
go
you
get
know,
their
like
IPAs.
I like I yeah. I mean,
Well, we talked on this show. You had a segment about the regional influences of like political thought, right? And
yeah.
so would it surprise you that a California company would be embarrassed by this? It shouldn't, right?
It doesn't surprise me. It's like it's an internal management thing. Like you know, like your employees come from a place, and you have to understand those employees and their leanings. If you probably want to maximize it, but it also is like, you know, if you're an employee at a company like Oracle. Oracle serves. I'm sure they're doing business with, you know, fairly terrible autocratic regimes somewhere, right?
Mm,
Like, or have done
Could be
it in the
everywhere.
past. Like if you worked at
Right.
McKinsey, you're actually working for a company that has been caught in corrupt issues for years. If you
Some
work at,
Mayor Pete shade right there, if
I
I'm
mean,
not
like,
discarding.
forget like, you know, like Google employees are walking out about, you know, sexual discrimination. And that seems like, you know, more of a pandemic thing. But you have, you know, like what was the company based out of Boston? And they want to sell furniture. It was they didn't want to sell furniture to because they were going to like the immigrant detention
Okay,
centers
yeah,
that,
yeah, right, right.
and it's like I get it. Like I morally agree, and also I'm kind of like, well, like, do you know all the places that you've sold furniture to, or are you just picking this one because it's today and it like it feels really
Yeah. Well, the
aggro?
point the point is we're in a time period where the workers can collectively do this, right? As you said, with social media, and it's easier. It's just easier to get these protests out in the public.
I mean,
Um,
yeah.
yeah.
Or
Let's move
also
on.
Larry
Yeah.
Ellison, weird dude. So
Creepy.
we can
Yeah,
end
he's
there.
creepy. Yeah. All right. Our next say what? Nissan's new CEO Makoto Uchida said on Tuesday he would accept being fired if he fails to improve profitability at the company, which is on course to post its worst annual operating profit in 11 years. Say what, Makoto? You're going to be accountable for your performance? I mean, this is groundbreaking behavior from a CEO.
Did that need to be said?
Up next, General Mills is working to revive its own cereal sales with new products like its Morning Summit cereal, which sells for $13 a box. Say what? I didn't know Uncle Jeff Bezos likes cereal. Did you know that,
That's the
Matt?
cereal they're gonna send to Mars. Is that plant-based cereal or meatless cereal? What is that?
Yeah, I think it's a worker protest-based cereal. MGM, this is a weird one. MGM report said it was the victim of a data breach last year. Yeah, it said it was the victim of a data breach last year that exposed that 10.6 million hotel guest data had been compromised. Now ZDNet is reporting this week that the personal details of these roughly 11 million guests who stayed at the MGM were published on a hacking forum this week. So say what, MGM? You were the victim of a data breach? That's some corporation snowflake behavior. And
I
I'm
don't
not
think
gonna stand
MGM is part of the business roundtable. You can't.
I'm not standing for this behavior anymore. Up next in a story that Matt told me about this morning, so I'm going to let him talk about it. Goldman Sachs is calling coronavirus a near-term correction. So I say what? I didn't know Goldman could keep finding ways to sound creepier and creepier, but what does this mean, Matt? What's Goldman talking
Oh,
about?
they're basically just saying that the market is. You can expect a dip in the market because of coronavirus. But I just love the language. I just love it. It's like basically what they said is because people are dying in China, we expect the market to correct for that. Like that's just such a weird way to frame it. It's kind of like
And creepy.
it does feels it's not this is not outside. This is not like a Goldman centric problem. It's just like I saw that on the ticker this morning and they were on Squawk Box, it just felt so weird. Like, that's how you talk about it? Like, that's like, yeah, I don't. Does that make you feel a little squishy? Like, what are you doing?
And finally, Matt, we have a Say What pop quiz for you. The headline is that 50% of Americans said they didn't know whether buying a single company stock usually provides a better return than investing in a mutual fund. So what's the answer, Matt?
Does it depend on the company?
That's all you got?
Look, if you're, I used to be a financial advisor, and I would never ever tell anybody to buy a single stock. Like, unless your brother owns the company or your sister owns the company and they tell you something and you're insider trading, because this is the only way you're going to guarantee a return. I wouldn't also buy a mutual fund either, because you're paying somebody else to have ideas that probably aren't that good, and you're paying them a lot of money. So if you're an individual investor, my suggestion is don't invest.
Are you surprised that half of Americans don't know the answer to this question?
No, I'm not surprised by that, even remotely, because
yeah. And our final pop quiz question for Matt in our Say What category is over 35% could not answer this question. Let's see if Matt can. At a 2% interest rate, how much would $100 be worth after 5 years? Can you do that one?
2% per year, or compounding quarterly?
Or
or
right, forget it. That's all I got. That's Biz Nuggets.
We are Matt Moscardi and Damian Morales. We are also Free Float Media. This was Business Pants. It is February 20th, 2020. Thank you to our executive producers, Courtney Rowe, Courtney Cook, our senior advisor, Dan Rogachnik. Our art department is John Walsh. Our music is brought to you by Todd Hovanek and the Asset Clowns. If you like what you heard, share us. Subscribe. We are not one of those big houses making podcasts with lots of money to burn through. All of those places have problems as their employees want to unionize, because guess what? They don't treat their employees that well, maybe. I don't know. They work long hours. They don't get paid enough. Well, we get paid nothing to bring you genius material on an almost daily basis. So share us with your friends and let them know that the little guy lives.
We got the Market Medium coming up tomorrow?
We got the Market Medium coming up tomorrow. We're going to drop an interview we did, and we'll see how it goes. So let us know. Subscribe to the Market Medium if you're not already subscribed. I'll talk to you next week, Damien.
Yep, Business Pants on Monday. See you, Matt.